This video clip of the documentary series Up From Slavery is going to share with you that the slaves had more knowledge of rice cultivation than did the slave masters. But it wasn't just rice cultivation that they had more knowledge of the slave masters. They actually had more knowledge of sweet potato cultivation. They also had more knowledge of peanuts cultivation and other plants that were imported from Africa to the United States. Your knowledge predates any contact with Europeans. We weren't waiting for them to come and teach us anything, and slavery was about much more than physical labor and free labor. They were also stealing the knowledge of our indigenous ancestors.
The other major North American destination for African slaves, beginning in the late 1690s, was South Carolina. There, African slaves were put to work in the rice fields. The difference between Virginia and South Carolina for the life of the slave began at the point of sale. Because the Chesapeake region did not have a central port, slavers would travel up and down the river system, selling slaves to merchants at various stops. Those merchants would then march the slaves around the region, selling them a few, or sometimes just one at a time. In South Carolina, the Africans were all brought to Charleston, where they were sold in large lots to rice planters who had traveled to the city for the sole purpose of attending the slave auction. Rice planters learned to value slaves from the rice-growing regions of West Africa, as these slaves arrived with more knowledge of rice cultivation than that of the planters themselves.